Way back in 1984, Hasbro Toys released the first generation Transformers. And I know whoever was alive then and is watching this is singing in their heads the more than meets the eye jingle. Pitting the good Autobots, led by Optimus Prime, versus the evil Decepticons, led by Megatron, this massively popular toy line spawned a comic book and a long cartoon series. And in 2007, gave us the first live-action Transformers movie. This was a box office smash, which meant, of course, sequels. 7 sequels have been released so far. Most recently, Transformers Rise of the Beast, released last week. Now, these movies have become more and more ridiculous as time goes by. Despite seeing all of them, they kind of blended together in my head at this point. Now, don't get me wrong, the Bumblebee movie was really good, but Age of Extinction and The Last Knight, gun to my head, can barely remember what they're about. But regardless of this, these movies make a boatload of money. So let's talk about Rise of the Beast without spoiling what I'm sure is a very complex plot. Now, this movie is actually a prequel to the original Transformers film. In the year 1994, ex-military electronics expert Noah Diaz attempts to find a job to support his sick brother Chris. However, after another failed interview, his friend Reek convinces him to steal an expensive car from a nearby hotel. However, the car turns out to be the Autobot Mirage in disguise, who takes the terrified Noah on a joyride through the streets of New York City. At the same time, a museum on Ellis Island comes into possession of an unusual stone falcon with a maximal insignia. After closing hours, museum intern Alina Wallace investigates the statue and accidentally breaks it open to reveal half of the transwarp key. The artifact releases an energy pulse that attracts the attention of Optimus Prime and the other Autobots who have been stranded on Earth since their evacuation from Cybertron 7 years prior. Now, Prime summons the nearest Autobots, including Bumblebee and Mirage, who arrive at the meeting spot with Noah in tow. Although Optimus distrusts humans, he believes that they can use the transwarp key to return home and liberate their homeworld. Eventually, Mirage hatches a scheme to sneak into the museum and have Noah steal the key for them. Now, unbeknownst to the Autobots, the accidental activation of the transwarp key summons the Terracons to Earth. Noah meets Alina inside the museum, but cannot convince her to turn over the relic before the Terracons attack, and despite Prime's best efforts, Terracon leader Scourge successfully overpowers the Autobot leader, steals the key, and mortally injures Bumblebee before Arizor arrives to help drive the villains away. Arizor explains that the Maximals have been on Earth for millennia and deliberately split the transwarp key in half to prevent Unicron or his followers from using it. The loss of Bumblebee only further galvanizes Optimus's resolve that they must reassemble the key and return home. Noah, fearful of Unicron's arrival, tells Alina that they must destroy the key to protect their home world. How he knows who Unicron is? Don't know. Now let's do a little pro and con here. For me, the pro, it begins and ends with Peter Cullen. The 81-year-old voice actor has been voicing Optimus Prime since the original cartoon in the 80s and has continued to do so in all the live-action movies. And if you've heard Prime's voice in anything, well, that was Peter Cullen. And as usual, the special effects are really great. There are some great action and fight sequence. Now the cons. Oh boy, this may take a few minutes. Even in the best of these movies, I always felt that the humans were the worst part, and that they kind of distract from the story, and that doesn't end here. Now, the entire story is supposed to be driven by Transformer Mirage, voiced by Peter Davison, connecting with Anthony Ramos's Noah Diaz character. But I don't know, it falls flat. They just don't really develop. any kind of relationship. Also, the story drags a lot when it focuses on the Diaz family. This is an action movie, not some family drama, and I just couldn't really get invested. And despite having an all-star cast of voice actors including Ron Perlman, Peter Dinklage, and Michelle Yeoh, the performances are flat. You get the sense that these quality actors were said, hey, we're going to give you a lot of money. Come do voiceover work for us. They said sure, showed up one day, did a couple takes, and said, here's my check, and then left. So let's give this movie a 5 out of 10. It's not spectacular. It really doesn't do enough to impress, or it's not intimate enough to really move you. It's just kind of there. It's just more forgettable content. You'll go to the movies, you'll see it, you'll see all these explosions and fight scenes, and you'll leave, and somebody will ask you the next day, hey, what was that movie about? And you're probably not going to have a clue. So it's not worth rolling out to the theaters to see. Now, of course, this movie is going to make a shit ton of money. I think every one of these movies have crossed the $1 billion franchise. So that means it won't end anytime soon. In fact, they're already talking about sequels, at least 3, and somehow a crossover between this and the G.I. Joe universe. I mean, okay, whatever. So be prepared to see more Transformer movies coming out every few years for the rest of your lives, I think. Well, that's all I have to say about that. And as always, if you like what you heard, click the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, or a suggestion on something you want me to review. I'll gladly do it. And if you did not like what you heard, I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a good week.